Hi everyone, happy Erev Shabbat. This week is a very special Shabbat. It's called Shabbat Hagadol. One of the reasons is actually because the rabbi used to give a very long drasha. Shabbat Hagadol means the Great Shabbat, and it was because the rabbi used to give a long drasha about all the laws of Pesach, of Passover coming up, and that's one of the reasons why it's called Shabbat Hagadol. Now I'm sure all of you actually wouldn't even mind being able to sit in shul this week and listen to the rabbi's drasha, even if you had to listen to a long sermon. That's to the point where we've gotten to, that we're willing even to listen to a long sermon to be able to sit in shul. But unfortunately, we'll be home again by ourselves, and of course we have to make the most of it. But Shabbat Hagadol, what is the real reason that Shabbat Hagadol is called the Great Shabbat is because in Egypt, before we left, 4 days before we left, which was a Shabbat, just like this year. We left on a Thursday, just like this year. Pesach comes out on a Wednesday night, Thursday. And 4 days beforehand, we had to take the Egyptian god, the sheep, the lamb, and we had to bring it into our house and tie it to our doorpost. And the Egyptians wondered, why is it that you're taking our god into your house? And we had to tell them it's because in 4 days we are going to slaughter it and put it on our doorpost and eat it. And that was a very difficult moment for us as the Jewish people. Because until then, the plagues were happening, but the Jewish people weren't doing it. Maybe we were being blamed for it. Maybe they were saying it's the God of the Jews. But at the end of the day, we weren't doing it with our hands. All those things happened, and maybe the Egyptians believed it was God. Maybe the Egyptians believed it was a natural phenomenon. But it wasn't the Jewish people doing it with our hands. We were able to be in our house, and God was able to do it for us. But this is the time that God asked us to take our own hands and to take the Egyptian god and to bring it into our house and to tell them that the reason that we're doing it is because we are going to slaughter it as a sacrifice to God. And this was a very difficult moment for the Jewish people, and the Jewish people came through. We had faith in God, and we did what we needed to do in the face of adversity, in the face of the Egyptians. And it was, believe me, very difficult as slaves for hundreds of years to be able to turn that day and take their God and bring it into our home and tell them that the reason that we're doing that. And that became a great day. And that was the 10th of Nisan. But we don't always celebrate on the 10th of Nisan. This year it will be. But we always celebrated on Shabbat because that day was Shabbat. More than the 10th of Nisan, it was Shabbat. And the strength that we drew that from was from Shabbat. It wasn't coincidence that we were able to do that on Shabbat. Shabbat gave us the strength for the faith, to have the faith in God, to take the Egyptian god into our house and to tell them why. And Shabbat has always been a source of strength for the Jewish people. Shabbat is the day that we recognize that God is truly the creator of the world and in charge of everything that goes on. And Hashem told us on that day to use that strength and to use that faith to take in the Egyptian god. And that strength has always been there on Shabbat for the Jewish people. It was then, it has been in our history, and it is today a source of strength even for us today. There was once a great Hasidic rabbi, the Majitzer Rebbe, and he was asked in the 1920s, there's a video of it on YouTube, it's a fascinating video. He was asked, what message does he have for American Jews? And he told them to keep Shabbat. Because more than the Jews keep Shabbat, Shabbat keeps the Jews. So let us remember on this great Shabbat, the Shabbat that gave us the strength to do what we needed to do to show our faith in God. Let us celebrate the Shabbat at home with our families safely, and remember that this is the day that what we watch, but watches the Jewish people back and reaffirms our faith in God as the creator of the world and the one that constantly is running it. Shabbat Shalom.